Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 27 of our meditation practice on courage. My name is Lynne, and thank you for joining me today. Bring yourself into your seated position, whether you are seated on a chair or seated on a cushion. If you're seated in a chair, make sure that your feet are grounded to the earth and that you're sitting tall and not leaning back into the chair. For those of you seated on the ground, make sure that your pelvis is propped up high enough to allow your knees to drop downward. As you come into your seat now, shut your eyes and become aware of those places in your physical body that are connected to ground. Allow your feet to sink in. Allow your legs to drop if you're in a seated position. And in both positions, feel the connection of your sits bones to the surface on which you are seated. Take a moment and make any subtle adjustments, aligning your spine all the way out through the crown of your head, over your pelvis. Allow your collarbones to spread wide, with your sternum slightly lifting upwards. Let your hands be face down on your thighs, with your elbows right underneath your shoulders. Spread your fingers wide, opening up your palms, opening up your fingertips. On your next exhalation, just let your whole body relax and release any residual tension that you're holding as you've come into your seated position today. On your next exhale, release any tension from your face and your jaw, softening your tongue. Your quote today is by John F. Kennedy. "The courage of life is often a less dramatic spectacle than the courage of the final moment, but it is no less a magnificent mixture of triumph and tragedy." The courage of life is often a less dramatic spectacle than the courage of the final moment, but it is no less a magnificent mixture of triumph and tragedy. So the quote by John F. Kennedy came from his book, Profiles in Courage. And I felt it necessary to read you the larger quotation where this phrase came from. It's from page 246 of his book. Without belittling courage with which men have died, we should not forget those acts of courage with which men have lived. The courage of life is often less dramatic spectacle than the courage of a final moment, but it is no less a magnificent mixture of triumph and tragedy. A man does what he must, in spite of personal consequences, in spite of obstacles and dangers and pressures. And that is the basis of all human morality. In whatever arena of life one may meet the challenge of courage, whatever may be the sacrifices he faces if he follows his conscience, the loss of his friends, his fortune, his contentment, even the esteem of his fellow men. Each man must decide for himself the course he will follow. The stories of past courage can be defined by that ingredient. They can teach, they can offer hope, they can provide inspiration, but they cannot supply courage itself. For this, each man must look into his own soul. Continue to sit, drawing your breath rhythm, the sensation of your breath into your heart center. Feel the rise and fall of your upper chest. Feel this connection through your heart. Become aware of the beating of your heart. The pulses, the sensations. Allow your heart center to open. Come back to your heart. Come back to your true essence. Find your courage. Find your strength. all within your heart center. Learn to listen to your heart. Learn to listen to your heart. Learn to follow your heart's desires. Your head may say one thing, your heart may say another. Listen to your heart. Trust what your heart is telling you. Trust your heart. Trust your heart. You have all the courage you need. It's all within your heart. Allow your heart to expand and fill with peace, to fill with love, to fill with compassion, and allow your heart to fill with courage. Take your right hand and place it in the center of your heart. And take your left hand and just place it right on top. The courage of life is often a less dramatic spectacle than the courage of the final moment, but it is no less a magnificent mixture of triumph and tragedy. May you live your life with peace, love, compassion, and courage. Namaste. And thank you everyone for joining me, and I look forward to being with you tomorrow.